For EU fans such as myself, feeling like our timeline is forever gone and will never continue is a hopeless feeling that certainly keeps me up at night. However, the EU is not truly dead. There are new EU projects that are still going to come out that we as fans can look forward to. One such example is Supernatural Encounters, which is an expansion of a previously released Star Wars novella, which is now being up to 1,042 pages and will be releasing towards the end of this year, towards mid-January of next year is the target release date. It will be available online at StarWarsTimeline.net, the website of the author, Joe Bongiorno, and will essentially be the Silmarillion of Star Wars. I, for one, cannot wait for this novel to get out there. Another such example of new EU that will be coming to the fans for the first time are the Hungarian Han Solo books, which were released in 1992-93 and were 5 Han Solo novels that continued the Brian Daley Han Solo trilogy. They were written by Dale Avery and Ed Fisher, though they may have been the same person. They worked under various pseudonyms, and these are getting translated into English for the first time ever. I've actually had the opportunity to read the first one, but all 4 PDFs are going to be released next year after Supernatural Encounters. So 2023, mark it down, we're getting 4 new EU novels translated from Hungarian to English. The titles of these are Han Solo at Doomsday's Edge, Han Solo's Gambit, Han Solo and the Bounty Hunters, The War of Han Solo, and Han Solo Imperial Blood. 5 new Han Solo novels to fulfill our desire for new EU. These are going to be fantastic. If the first one was anything to go by, these are fantastic, fun, light Han Solo adventures in the vein of those original Brian Daley books. So for fans of the Brian Daley stuff, this was just matching the tone, the spirit, the feeling of that time of the EU. So these are going to be super, super fun, and I can't wait for us to all get a chance to read all 5, Han Solo Hungarian translations. Another example of new EU coming at us are these German Ewoks comics. The Germans Ewoks comics are these short comics that were released in Germany, and they were released in 1986 in the Ewoks comic and the Ewoks comic magazine. These reprinted US Ewoks comic books, but also had exclusive EU stories in them that were separate and new and different individual stories from the US Ewoks releases. These are separate and brand new EU, and they are getting translated to English as well. Expect them to come from Joe Bongiorno in 2023, as well as those Han Solo Hungarian translations. All will eventually be on StarWarsTimeline.net. I've spoken with Joe Bongiorno, and he has a contact at Marvel who he is speaking with to see if they would be interested in reprinting these, because apparently they own the license. The titles of these 5 short comics that were Ewoks comics getting translated from German to English are as follows. The Ewok Village is in grave danger, Ewoks celebrate the Moon Festival, Lizard Warriors attack, Worried for Princess Nisa, and Is Prince Plu's returning? All of these have connections in the titles to Ewoks comic storylines from the US releases. So hopefully some storylines will get continued. I'm super excited for these as a Ewoks cartoon fan. Brand new EU, some 5 German short comics getting translated to English. That's going to be great. Another example of some brand new EU material that us fans are going to be so excited to receive are the Ewoks picture books, the Ewoks Spanish picture books, which will also be translated into English. These are also from the 80s and were released in Spain. These are super fun because the picture books themselves were shaped like characters from the show, depicting Logray, Latara, Wicket, and Nisa. The titles of these stories was The Party of Wonders, The Disappearance of Latara, Wicket Goes to Fish, and Anxious for Princess Nisa. The title Wicket Goes to Fish is very similar to Wicket Goes Fishing, so I'm very curious how significant these new pieces of EU will be. Joe Bongiorno is also working on a translation of these, and I will be super excited to read these whenever they come out. It'll be incredibly exciting for me because that'll mean new EU, even if they are short picture books. Maybe insignificant, yes, but still giving us EU fans new content. Super cool. Now I'm going to throw out one for the conspiracy theorists, that being Escape from Dagu, a cancelled Clone Wars novel by William C. Dietz, who wrote the Dark Forces graphic novellas. He had written this story, had it completely ready, and then it was bumped from the publishing window in favor of releasing Yoda Dark Rendezvous because Del Rey thought it would sell better with audiences, and pumping a Yoda story out during the Clone Wars was more appealing to them and more marketable, which, fair enough, Yoda Dark Rendezvous is an incredible story. However, Escape from Dagu, which would have had Shaak Ti fighting against a dark acolyte on Dagu, sounds like a super interesting story, a story that's events were referenced in other EU material. So we know it happened, we just don't have the actual story of it happening. Apparently the story was completely completed, William C. Dietz has it, and he has not released it yet. Joe Bongiorno is going to be talking to him later in 2023. Once Supernatural Encounters and some of these translations have come out, he's going to talk to him about releasing it. Because, like Matt Wilkins has said before, he and Joe believe that the licensing for Escape from Dagu, if it's not released in a certain amount of years in a window, the contract states that the author can release it themselves. But William C. Dietz, fairly enough, believes that he was paid in full, so he believes that it belongs to them and he can't give us the story. However, for the conspiracy theorists out there, some of us believe that certain members of the EU community, Christopher Nelson, may have this story already, and it would be great if we eventually get this. I personally think that Chris Nelson does have it. Just a wild conspiracy theory. But who knows? He might be trolling us because, as many of us know, the cover is in the background of a couple of his videos. I'm sure some screenshots I'll edit over this. Regardless, hopefully we eventually get Escape from Dagu. I personally believe we will eventually get it. Maybe with or without William C. Dietz's help, who knows? At this point, I just want Escape from Dagu. I think it'll be a fantastic story, and it's one I really want to get. Another unconfirmed but definite avenue for new EU for us fans is the SWTOR game updates. The SWTOR games are constantly updating and constantly giving us new stories. The last story expansion that came out was Legacy of the Sith earlier this year, and before that, in 2019, it was Onslaught. So we may have to wait 3 years, but inevitably another major game update with major story implications will be released. The SWTOR game has not given a definitive conclusion yet to the storylines that it has opened. There's plenty of story to still tell, and the game updates will continue to tell it, as well as the new short stories that they continue to release. They released 2 last year, and they've so far released 2 this year, which is super exciting for us EU fans. Brand new prose fiction short stories released on their website that tie into the game itself. Beautiful, beautiful new EU. We've gotten some here and there since 2014. 2015 we got a couple, 2017, 2019, and then nothing for a while, some silence. Then 2021 broke the silence with 2 new ones. 2022 has given us 2 new ones so far. I don't see why they would stop. They've gotten 2 new writers now, Caitlin Sullivan-Kelly and Jay Watinik. I apologize for butchering that pronunciation, but yeah, their stories are fantastic, really good reads, really fun short stories, and although not confirmed or not officially like this is when we're getting this, new EU is going to continue to come in the SWTOR era, which is something us EU fans can continue to stay excited about. I know it feels like the EU is dead. It really does, and it hurts, it stings every day that we don't get new EU. However, I've just outlined a bunch of new stuff on the horizon that can keep us excited. I'm excited for all of these to release, and hopefully by the time these are all released, we'll have some more EU beyond that that's upcoming. Mandorla, that's a long shot, but you know, who knows, there could be other foreign EU material that gets discovered that can be translated, or who knows, Disney may eventually get some old authors back and continue the EU. But as we wait, we have at least 4 EU stories coming our way, and then 2 speculative ones that probably we'll get sooner or later. So it may not be the best time to be an EU fan, but it's not exactly dead. The EU is still kicking, and it will outlive all of us. It's timeless, and hopefully we will continue to get stories in the timeless saga that is the EU.